So I owe you a part 2 of this series on dealing with depression. In part 1 we covered what it's like for the person with depression, and that video is meant for them. This video is meant for the people who are friends and family of those dealing with depression. A lot of times the person dealing with depression doesn't know how to tell you what they need or don't need, so I'm here to step in and try to help. Please pardon my voice if I'm a little bit sniffly. I have allergies for the first time in a lot of years. A lot of pollen, I guess. So again, the whole purpose of this video is to say, when someone's dealing with depression and you're their friend or their relative or something like that, here's how you help them, and also here's how not to help them. Number 1, the opposite of depression isn't cheery or happy or whatever. Depression is a chemical problem. It's a lot like breaking your leg. You are depressed for some duration of time and then it heals up, but it's not really anything to do with your state of mind exactly. Telling someone to cheer up is like telling someone to unbreak their leg. It just doesn't work that way. When you're depressed, what you're trying to do is just ride out some stuff and deal with whatever you can at whatever level you're at until you can get back to a level where you're capable of handling the stuff you normally can handle. So don't tell anyone to cheer up. Never helpful. Instead of saying cheer up, one way you might deal with it is just to say, I'm sorry you're going through that right now. I'm here to listen if you want, and just leave it at that. If the person doesn't feel like talking, it's all good. They'll usually just say, thanks, I'm good, no big deal. And then they'll get on with it, right? It's not yours to fix at all, even if you're their most significant other in the whole wide world. And if you're just a passing friend either, it's not yours to fix. So just say, I'm sorry you're going through that right now, or whatever, and ask how you can help if you want. Next, when someone's going through depression, they don't necessarily really feel like leaving the house too much. So you trying to pull them out of the house isn't necessarily as helpful as you think it is. You might say that you could go out and get some sun. If there's some sun out, you could say it's good for the vitamin D, that kind of a thing. You can always, make the recommendation. But if the person needs to stay home, they need to stay home for a little while. They need to stay locked into their space. It's not a bad thing. It's just a way of dealing with one set of known goods for a small duration of time. Another not helpful tip, never talk to people who are dealing with depression about what they have to be happy about. We know what we have to be happy about, and we know also that other people are suffering more than us, but that's not what depression's like. Depression's just like dealing with something. I'm dealing with allergies right now. I would love to be able to breathe deeply without wheezing. I'd love to not feel like there's a big bunch of bubble wrap in my chest right now. You just deal with it, right? Sometimes you can get through it, sometimes medicine helps, sometimes it doesn't, and you just get through. One detail I have, one change that is true though, is that when someone's dealing with depression, they can't handle as much as when they're not. So piling stuff onto someone dealing with depression, adding more chores or something like that, that's not gonna help them very much. So if you can, go easy on them for a little while. Not a whole lot, just depression's not an excuse, but go easy on them as best you can, just for the short duration of time it takes them to get themselves back up on track. Lastly, one of the things that people really want when they're not feeling depressed is they just want to know that they're connected. They know that people care about them. So one way to help people deal with depression is way ahead of them getting depressed by just dropping a line every now and again. Just say, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. What's going on? What's news? Tell me something funny. Whatever, just to keep connected with them. That's one way to help people with depression long before. But the other thing I want to add to this is, it's not your job to fix someone else's depression. It's just your job to appreciate the person for who they are and in what capacity they can come to the table at any point. So if it's a rough time for them, they might not be able to give as much as they usually do. Just accept and understand that, and that they're still the same person. They're just going through a rough spot. It's all good. Again, this was part 2 of a series. If you are someone dealing with depression, part 1 talks about that. I'll put a link in the notes down below. But just go to youtube.com/Chris Brogan to check that out. And also, if you want to reach me directly, you can always send me a line, chris@owner.media. Hope you're well. One more thing. The nice folks at Beard Balm sent me some Beard Balm. And what this is, by the way, you can go to beardbalm.us. Look in here, it is basically like creamy stuff, and you're supposed to apply it to your beard. I don't know if you noticed, but ever since I started getting white and gray in my beard, I've been growing it out, like the opposite of most people. But I wanted nice silvery hair, so I guess you just apply it like this. I don't know. The instructions say, don't cut your beard. You should have a beautiful beard. So let's see. I guess I'm supposed to make my beard nice or something like that. I don't know. Can I just do this? Like it's kind of, maybe you're not supposed to do that, but so I just did. Oh, there we go. Now it feels like I feel like I put too much. I probably put too much. Beard Balm. BEARDBALM. You can follow them at Beard Balm on Twitter. And they also have one called Naked. I'm naked, but this is Beard Balm.